You know, make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate when y'all do that. That's real cute. Road to 500, almost there. You know the deal. Unico Williams on YouTube. I really appreciate. There was a lot going on this week, wasn't there? We're waiting for the Epstein list, like we're waiting for Jesus to come back. You know, they tell us when he gonna come back. They just said, you know, I'm telling you, you just never know. It could be tomorrow. We don't know. A lot has been going on this week. We got some NBA beef. Always with the NBA beef. I love this time of the year because NBA beef is at an all-time boring high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always like we enjoy the story, right? We enjoy the stories that are going on. Ja Morant doing his thing, dunking on Wemby, all that. We're enjoying Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel. We're enjoying. Let's talk about something a little bit more relevant to our lives. That's right. Katt Williams. Everybody knows Katt Williams. He's a comedian. You know him as Money Mike from Friday After Next, a great movie. You may know him from all of his stand-ups that he's done throughout the years. You just may know him. Katt Williams went on to Club Shay Shay. Shout out to Unc. Katt Williams went on the Club Shay Shay, and he just had a lot to get off his chest. Now, if you should know this about Club Shay Shay, or if you follow any of these comedians, a lot of these comedians have actually been on Club Shay Shay, right? So, with that being said, Katt Williams felt like he was being disrespected by some of these comedians. Some of those comedians being Rickey Smiley, Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Harvey Weinstein, and Kevin Hart. All right, so y'all know how I rock with Rickey Smiley heavy. I rock with him heavy. Like I want to be on his show one day. But I remember going back. Rickey Smiley was on Club Shay Shay, and he was talking about being on Friday After Next. He wasn't supposed to be Santa Claus. He was supposed to be Money Mike, the pimp that Katt Williams would go on to portray, right? Now, we all seen Katt Williams from like our youth, and even before some of y'all was born. We saw Katt Williams perform on stage, and he always had like this pimp persona, the perm in the hair and all that type of stuff. We saw all that, right? And he was like the perfect person for that. But I wasn't thinking about it because I'm in such awe, right, of Rickey Smiley. Like I've been wanting to be a part of his morning show since like 2009, right? I've always wanted to be a part of this. I wanted him to hand me the torch the way that Russ Parr handed him the torch, or Tom Joyner rather. I've wanted that because I know that I can go on that show and bring that spirit of the South, that old school Baptist funny. I can bring that along with some of the new, right? So you know how I feel about Rickey Smiley. So here's what Katt Williams said about that. So Rickey Smiley apparently, so he said that he was actually supposed to play Money Mike in the movie, but he ended up playing Santa Claus, right? So, Katt Williams goes on the show and he's like, "Nah, I wrote Money Mike. Money Mike might have been a character, but he went on to say some extra things, right? Where he's like, there's this part of the movie where Mike is in the bathroom with Damon, and he was saying, Rickey Smiley was okay with that scene where Mike was supposed to get SA'd. But instead, what Katt Williams is saying, he's saying, I can make this funnier than me having to be SA'd, right? That's what he said. Steve Harvey. He goes on to Steve Harvey, said that Steve Harvey took Mark Curry, one of the funniest dudes in the 90s, man. When I was a kid, I used to love him. When I was like a little kid, I was so smart I could get it. But like, funny, hilarious. Had a show called Hang with Mr. Cooper. And so Katt Williams had claimed that Steve Harvey he actually took the whole premise. Let's take a brother and put him in school and then see how he try and help all the children. Then he got to go home. So Katt said that, right? Said that about Steve Harvey. He said a lot of things. He said that they was dissing Bernie Mac. He said a lot of things. Katt Williams alleged that Steve Harvey did a lot of things. Let's go to Cedric the Entertainer. Everybody knows that famous all black people. If y'all go to the moon, we going to, and we going in a spaceship, it's gonna have a Cadillac grill. I'm gonna have a cigarette hanging. And Katt Williams actually has footage of him doing that same joke. Who else did he bring up? Brought up Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, he said that Kevin Hart was already like planted into Hollywood because he's done most of his jokes on the East Coast. So then they plant you in but then they allegedly put you into Hollywood. You automatically get this movie called Soul Plane. We hook you up with Snoop Dogg and all that. I've actually never watched Soul Plane all the way through. I've seen it a couple times on BET, and then I just turned on to ESPN. It's because it came out when I was a kid. I was trying to watch Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. Then he brought up Harvey Weinstein, one of the Me Too movement people that fell on the sword for, I feel like, a lot of people that have probably fallen. Like, he fell on the sword for a lot of people that was into some wild stuff. Like, because we're hearing this SA allegation stuff all the time nowadays. Like, man, in 2005, they was doing this. In 2002, they was doing this. Bill Cosby did this in 1975. For those who don't know that exists, there's a 1975. And all these things are happening, right? And what do I want to say? Katt Williams sounded believable. He did. It sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Sounded like he had the facts. Sounded like he had the information. Sounded like it. Said that they were all a gang, if you will, a gang. They stick together. People call strays during this. I'm not going to call it a rant because that's disrespectful. It's not a rant. He was just speaking his truth. And we got to, every time a black man speaks passionately about something, we got to stop calling it a rant. It wasn't a rant. He was speaking his truth. I'll say that. Is that cool? Can I say that, America? And everybody else that watches this and subscribes to it. But I'm not going to call it a rant, but that's what he said. It's soliloquy, in a sense. Like, Uncle Shannon was there to, kind of buffer things out and kind of ask questions and keep things on track, right? And keep things within the box that it was in, like this particular question. It's in a box, right? It's in a box. And when it got too far left, he brought it back in with like so how did you feel when you was playing on, you know what I'm saying? So I think Shannon Sharpe, let's talk about this part of it. Shannon Sharpe has done a great job of being an interviewer, a media personality. I can say that because that could have went off the rails, but at the same time, I don't want Uncle Katt to get mad in regards to this. I'm just saying it could have went a lot of different ways. Now we're getting some stuff from Michael Blackson. We're getting some things from Cedric the Entertainer. Nobody's really taking direct shots at him. Like, they're just like, But was kind of a direct shot if you're Michael Blackson by saying, "Oh, he called out the top 10 comedians of this generation and he just wants to be relevant." Okay, that was a shot. But at the same time, is you top 10? I don't know. I think that's a question and it deserves, I think it's warranted an answer. Are you top 10? Can we vote on that? Is that something we can vote on? Is Michael Blackson top? See the whole, and I don't want to do this. I'm just saying like there is, let's talk about audiences. Some audiences like certain things. I like Dave Chappelle a lot. He's one of my favorite. Some things about Katt Williams I like a lot. Bernie Mac, I couldn't stop laughing. DL Hughley, actually at the time, when Kings of Comedy came out, he was my favorite on the whole tour. But Bernie was second. And then I felt like Steve Harvey did a great job of hosting the show. Even though they're saying that that was his show, I believe he did a great job of hosting it. That's what I strive to be. So I watched everything from everybody when Kings of Comedy first came out. And yeah, like DL Hughley was the funny guy to me. Now, like as I'm older, like DL Hughley has a radio show. I don't listen to it. I like listening to Rickey Smiley because that's just, I don't know. That's just, maybe that's where my humor goes. Like I like thinking about the old days. I like thinking about, the funny stuff that that we used to do in the Baptist church and we used to have a good time. Man, I know stuff is super duper. Um, I don't even know. I don't even know what to call it, but it's super modernized, if you will. I kind of feel like from a Baptist standpoint, we losing recipes, but I'm just throwing that out there. But at the end of the day, Katt Williams has every right to speak on how he wants to speak. He has every right to say what he wants to say. If that was his experience, he can say it. Now, if they want to say, man, them OGs, man, and you hate to see it, but I'm definitely very invested in this because a lot of people that I came up watching, they were people that helped me to go in front of a stage or to go in front of a crowd and be confident in myself. Here I am. Am I the biggest dog in the yard? Nah, not yet. But it's not about being the biggest dog in the yard. I just want to make sure that, I just make people smile. And that's my biggest thing. And that's what I admire about all those people. Because no matter what lane you are as a comedian, or more importantly, let's take it out of the box of comedian, entertainer. Your job is to entertain. And you can do it a lot of different ways. You can come up with dances. You can come up with jokes. You can come up with jokes and dances that go along with something. You can also tell stories about stories that are relatable to people, right? And at the end of the day, all these cats, no pun intended, are entertainers. And they got livelihoods and they're all successful. Like I could see if somebody was down bad, then like, yeah, we'd be like, man, Cat, chill out on him, man. He really down bad. Like, he owed a couple of dollars. He need a gig. But they're all successful men. They're all successful black men. If they formed a group of people to help each other grow, I get it. And if you want to go on your own and do your own thing, I get that too. But at the end of the day, everybody has a right to say their truth, whether it's not true or not. But if it's your truth, if that's how you perceived it, because somebody once told me perception is everything. And I question that. But it's absolutely true. Why is it absolutely true? I can tell you all day long that I'm the most kind person that you'll ever meet. And there's nothing that I won't do for you or a stranger. I can say those things to you all day long. I can even show you that. But if your first time meeting me is me making a joke and or me making light of a situation, you might call me a clown and never have respect for me, right? Because that's your perception. So whether the perception is right or not, people still have the right to have those perceptions. You don't have to shape their perception. Be yourself, and that's cool. But you don't have to shape the perception that somebody else has of you because of the first time they met you, you made a joke or you did this and they feel like, you're not taking things seriously. That stops a lot of entertainers because they're like, "Oh, they don't take this seriously. They should be over here putting their head down into the books." I get that. People should have an education. People should do those things. I get that. But there's some people where your perception when you first meet somebody. No, I met somebody, and I'll end on this. I met somebody, man. Perception, man. I thought this dude was the meanest, the Hulk kind of guy I ever met. Because the first time I met him, he was hulking the hell out of people, tossing people, doing all that type of stuff. He was doing that, right? So I'm like, man, you better not mess with him. Man, he'd toss you around. You can act tough in front of him, but man, he gonna grab you up. And what I would come to realize is after sitting down and talking to him, he was like really a cool guy. And he was very serious about him doing biology work, like college level biology work. He was in classes to get like college credits. And while everybody was sitting here thinking that he was just some like barbaric guy, I got to know him. He's more smart than a lot of people. So that's where I'm at. Perception is very important. I get that. And people can form their own opinions based off of said perceptions. But you do need to give a lot of things an opportunity to show you who they truly are. Because, man, I've seen on Twitter so much, man, black people, they just violent. I'm black. So whenever I see this person, he's going to automatically think I'm violent. It's not true. It's not. But that being said, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Do You Hear Me with Unico Williams. Please make sure that you like and subscribe because I love when you do that. You're so cute when you do it. Also, you know the deal, Unico Williams on YouTube. That's where you can find me. Road to 500. Once I get there, oh, buddy, we about to take off. Do you hear me? And then once I get there to the takeoff part, I got us. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Do You Hear Me? Unico Williams. I holla. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Don't forget, every Thursday, the full podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and mama, I'm on Spotify. Overall 99 ENT bring you videos from Friday all the way to Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Again, thank you so much. I holla.